YouTube friends, I'm Heidi Villegas with Healing Harvest Homestead and the School of Botanical Arts and Sciences. And today we're going to be talking about what to do with your dried herbs. Once they're dried, how do you get them off the stems or pick out the useful parts and then get them into a jar? Fairly easy. So that's what we're going to talk about. So what I have behind me here is a drying rack, and this can hold a lot of herbs. It can actually hold a lot more herbs than it's holding right now. These were some of my early harvest picks this last couple weeks, and then we went away to the Modern Homesteading Conference, and I had left all these there. And now today I'm getting ready to go out into the yard and do a lot more harvesting, and I've got a lot. I'm going to be bringing in a lot. So we've got our mints and our lemon balm and the rest of the marshmallow. We've got, I'm trying to remember everything, the motherwort, all of the yarrow, the skullcap, I think I mentioned the mints and the lemon balm. I've got some California poppy, more chamomile that needs to come in, calendula, and I know there's things I'm missing. Oh yeah, I wanted to harvest some more blackberry leaves, and the rest of our stevia for right now too. So anyhow, that's a lot's gonna be on this drying rack when I come in today. So I wanna get my dried herbs off of my drying rack and into jars. So I'm going to show you a little process called garbling, and this is a way that home herbalists and probably big herbalists as well will take care of plant matter so that the leaves come quickly and easily off the stems, and you can easily and quickly get them into jars. So let's go ahead, and we're going to start with chamomile because I have some sitting over here. So let me walk you over here. Those herbs that are back there are going to also be handled today as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to get started with chamomile. I have a bunch of it here that's been sitting on towels, and what I do with my chamomile is I just go along with scissors and I cut the tops off, and then I lay the chamomile out on a towel in a ventilated area. And what ends up happening is it just dries pretty quickly, and then I can go ahead and take care of getting the flower heads off of the stems. So that's the part that you want. Now there are fancy tools that you can use to harvest chamomile. It's kind of like a little scraper. You just scrape it right along the top of the plants, but I don't have one of those. So I am simply going to do my best to get all of the flowers off of the stems. That's a little bit of stevia that got in there. And that's one of the things that you need to be aware of when you're processing herbs too, is especially when you're doing the amounts that I'm going to be doing, is it's very easy to get little bits of other herbs mixed up in your plants. Now, if you're going to be using your herbs yourself for your family, like I am, it's not a big deal, as long as you know what could possibly have got in there. But these are little stevia leaves, which honestly will probably taste really nice in the chamomile that I have here. But I don't necessarily want them in there because I want what's in my jar to reflect what the label says so that I know what's going on. So what I'm going to do with my chamomile right now is essentially, again, I'm just sitting here removing like some little extra things. I'm just going to pretty much crunch it up. I might get some stems in there. Stems are not a big deal. And I'm just going to kind of pull at it like this, okay? And you can watch the flower heads and the little teeny tiny petals that have dried up, just kind of falling onto the towel. They will naturally do this as the herb is drying anyway. Chamomile is very fragile. So like for fragile herbs like chamomile, it's a little bit different than what I'm going to show you in a moment with the spearmint. You can see I'm just going to crush it. My goal is to get all those little beautiful flowers off because the flowers are the medicinal part of the chamomile. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so I am not going to video this forever because my battery's low and I want to get on to the spearmint. So I'm going to go ahead and just know that I'm not quite done working with this pile yet. So I'm going to place it over here and I'll show you what I've got going on here with the chamomile bits. I'm also going to take some of that. So the chamomile has been laid out on these towels now for, like I said, a couple of weeks. It still looks really good. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful fresh chamomile. And when you can harvest your own fresh, it is such a pleasure. But you can see I've got a lot of great bits here. And the bits are great. So one thing to know about chamomile is that you can harvest it every few days, and that actually encourages more flower growth. So I have been a little bit remiss in doing that this past couple of weeks because we've been so busy with a number of things. But that's what I'm going to start doing here while the summer is still allowing me to produce a lot of these chamomile. So now I'm just picking out the little stems as much as I can. There's a lot of them that I don't necessarily want in there. But like I said, I can crush these up and they'll just become part of the chamomile mix, and it's really not a big deal. I also have some little bits of lavender that have fallen in here, so I'm going to remove those. Although lavender and chamomile tea would be delicious. So just going to mention that real fast. I love my lavender. I love my chamomile. I love those calming herbs. Okay, so what we're seeing now, I don't know if you can see this, but we've got a little pile of chamomile petals and the little buds and the little flower heads, and that's going to go into a jar. So I'm going to use a quart jar for this, and I'm going to put a canning funnel on top. And I love canning funnels for working with herbs because they have a really wide mouth and they just make things really easy in terms of cleanup time and getting everything into the jar just like that, which is just wonderful. So grab these other stems that are in here. I love little chamomile flowers. They're so happy. You get these little yellow heads and little white petals, and I just love them. They're just so beautiful, and I know that when I drink a cup of my chamomile tea later on, it's going to remind me of the garden and just how beautiful and lovely they are. So it's really nice. So now what I want to do, and this is good enough for me right now. Some of you might be a little pickier than I am, and that's okay. You just continue to pick out what you don't want, but I'm in a hurry to get outside. So I am going to go ahead and take my jar, set it over here, and take this towel. And this is this is what makes it really easy, is that you've been drying on a towel. So that actually gets you all set up for a very easy transition process into your jar. And I like that. I like easy, right? Don't we all like easy? Okay, and I'm gonna just take this and kind of unfold it at the end of it here. You can't really see what I'm doing. I know it's just in front of my face, but I am simply allowing the little teeny tiny bits to fall into the jar. I wish I could turn this a little better so you could see this, but just holding the opening over the jar, and I've got lots of little bits. You can kind of see what that looks like there. It's very fine. When chamomile dries, you have a lot of fine little parts, the petals, tiny little stamens, and all the things. Okay, but that's kind of what I do. And then I just kind of fold it off. My table is very clean, so I'm just gonna scoop up the little extra bits here. And that harvest, that little tiny harvest a couple weeks ago, yielded me about a half a quart of high quality, really wonderful chamomile. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I still have a bunch of chamomile to process, but I want to show you how to go about working with some herbs that have longer stems and more leaves when you don't want the stems. So I just basically said just now, if a few stems of the chamomile get in there, it's not a big deal. Still, it's going to be a very nice herbal mixture. But I'm going to wipe out my chamomile out of here, excess chamomile. Now, if I were selling my herbal products, I would be sure to sterilize everything in between. It would be a lot more, I'd be a lot more careful about it. So anyway, so now I've got a 1/2 gallon jar. I'm gonna go ahead and start with some of this spearmint. Okay, and to do herbs that have a longer stem like this, you're simply going to grasp, toward the base of your bundle and just simply pull along that stem, and you're gonna end up with your leaves. Now, you can crush them as fine as you want. I like them fairly crushed. I mean, it's kind of nice having them in their whole form because guess what? The more the herb stays in its whole form, the longer it's going to preserve the volatile oils and to stay fresh, okay? But if you're working with teas and things like that, then you probably want smaller bits. So it's totally up to you. This is totally, 100% up to how you want to do this. All right. By the way, last summer, I did a lot of garden tours, and I haven't done any this summer yet because I have not had time. It's been crazy. We work down in an office now in town. We've brought our business down to an office, and I am back and forth between home and there, and my herbs are just going crazy right now. Oh, I know, the other thing I have to get out and harvest today is the hawthorn berries. Those are, they're due, and I've learned about hawthorn berries. If you don't get out there and get them harvested right away, the birds eat them all, and then there's none for me. So I like to go out and get just the amount that I need for the year for myself, and I take my hawthorn every day. It helps with my high blood pressure, supports just a strong heart and an open heart, and I really love it emotionally and as well as physically for my cardiovascular system. And look, I'm left with this. This is going to get composted. I'm going to take that rubber band off, of course. Oops, catching on my chamomile. And all of this is just simply going to go right into my jar. And I'm just going to give them a good little crush as they go in. And the spearmint smells delightful. So good. Very, very beautiful. I think I'm going to do some distilling of my spearmints and mints. And then if you want to just reach into your jar and give it another little crush. You know that the more you crush it, the more you can put in one jar. So that's a good thing too. And that also means the less air is going to be between the bits. And there you go. That's how you garble a larger type of a medicinal herb. And now I'm going to get started going outside and harvesting some more. I'll take a picture for you of the drying rack when I get more of the herbs in. All right, this is Heidi Villegas with Healing Harvest Homestead. Thank you for joining me here. I'm so glad you were here today with me. Please like, subscribe, and share this if it was something that you enjoyed. And give me some comments and feedback. I appreciate that. I love knowing what you want or tips if you have any for me, because I'm not perfect and I don't know everything. So I love it when you guys share your ideas and what you're doing. All right, I'm signing off. Heidi Villegas with Healing Harvest Homestead. Please be sure to grab my home herbal remedy guide and cheat sheet below if you're new to this channel. Or I've got some other gifts in the description. Just click on show more. And there's a whole list of things that you can pick up for free from me. And I love you all. Have an awesome day and get out there with your herbs.